Hi everybody and welcome to another weekly update. We are in 2020 and this is the first video from this new year. I'll see how long it takes me before I forget that we're in 2020 and start saying 2019. But hopefully everybody's back from a good Christmas if you celebrate it, and a happy new year. I know I've had a great time being off, so I logged off my work laptop on Christmas Eve and then haven't logged back on since today. The plan was to actually log on even though I was off and to work on some of the blog posts that were half written or some ideas and finish off all of that. But to be honest, I was having so much fun with my friends and family with the social activities that we had planned and in the diary that I never actually thought about work or looked at the work laptop. Now, so that wasn't a major issue anyway because I was off, so my boss and my employer weren't expecting me to be there, but it was actually really good to chill and to focus on the family and the friends and just being at home. And I'm working on some of those to-do list things that you have around the house that you never get to do. So I'm super excited to be back. January is going to be a bit crazy with a lot of things that are happening, and so is February, but I'm ready to go, and I've already got a few things knocked off the to-do list this morning as well, because I was in that kind of fully motivated, refreshed kind of attitude. So I'm really pleased with that. So only one day this week because it's Friday, but next week will be a full week, and I'm looking forward to that. There's lots going on for me personally as well. So one of the first things that I did this morning when I logged back on was to check on the Azure updates and find out what had been happening over the period that I'd been off. And I've picked out two updates that I want to highlight and mention to everybody. And the first one is Azure Bastion went generally available in 2 additional regions. So we have it now in the East US 2 and West US 2. And I think that takes us up to 8 regions in total. Now, Azure Bastion's a fairly new service. I think it went generally available at Ignite. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's when it went available. And it kind of front ends your virtual machines. So you can use it as that kind of jump box, that RDP jump box that allows you to not have your virtual machines within Azure fully exposed to the internet and use the Bastion service instead. So that's a pretty cool service. So it's nice to see the addition of a couple of more regions, and I know the team are still working on adding functionality to the other regions as well. The other update that happened was the Azure Backup added in functionality to name your own resource when you're creating a backup policy. Now, I know this doesn't sound like a massive feature, but I also know that it annoyed quite a lot of people, because when the Azure Backup service ran, it created this resource group, that I think was called something like Azure Backup RG _ the geography name of the region, and then underscore, and then there was a number. So it didn't really conform to a lot of people's naming conventions, and often if people had an Azure policy for the naming conventions for the resource group, it would stop it working. And I know from an aesthetically pleasing kind of place, when you looked at all your resource groups, you had this consistent naming convention across everything else, and then your Azure Backup created this crazy resource group. It bugs some people. So now when you create an Azure Backup policy, you have the ability to customize that resource group name to something to suit yourself. So I know that will please a lot of people. So have a look at that now if it's something that you haven't looked at before. The other thing that I did this morning was update some of the software on my laptop. So I regularly use Chocolatty to set up laptops. So I install that, which is an open source bit of software that helps you install software on a Windows platform. And I like certain tools on every laptop or every device that I'm using. And I have a script in a OneNote that installs Chocolatty and then installs a number of tools. And I did an update this morning. So I did a Chocolatty upgrade all, and it just went through the software that it's installed and checked for the latest versions. So I think overall it maybe installed 6 or 7 updates of packages that I had installed. So I know my laptop is all up to date now, and that's done. So that was one of the wee to-do tasks that I had set myself this morning. One thing I also want to do today or next week is check up on some of the Azure Advent Calendar videos that were released. So You may or may not know that last month Gregor Suttie and Richard Hooper created this Azure Advent Calendar, and it basically saw a number of videos being released every day in the form of kind of like an Advent calendar when we went through Christmas. So I think in total there's 74 videos up on the YouTube channel that community members have created. So there's tons of content, tons of information, probably a video or two on every service within Azure, and there's lots of good content there. So I was just making up a wee playlist of the ones that I wanted to catch up on, so that I can catch up on them over the next coming weeks, because I didn't do it in December, unfortunately. So the content's still there. It's going to be there as forever, as far as I'm aware. So if you haven't caught up on any of it, then you still have that opportunity. So definitely check that out, because 74 videos is a lot of content, and a lot of good content is in there as well. I also noticed when I logged into Twitter this morning that I had received over 2,700 odd followers. I'd hit that landmark, so thank you so much to everybody that has followed me on Twitter. Hopefully you enjoy the content, and please say hello, please interact with me. Any comments or feedback or questions, just reach out to me. My DMs are open, so I'm happy to try and do that as well. So that's me. I'm kind of just catching up, kind of just starting working on that to-do list that was outstanding on Christmas, and catching up on what's happened over the holiday period. So one day this week, as I said, and next week's a full week. So hopefully everybody's ready to go this year. And yeah, come say hello if you meet me at an event. I've got a couple of events planned this year. And yeah, any comments on this video, like and subscribe as always, please. Really appreciate that. And yeah, have a good one, and I'll see you next week.